Hey everyone, welcome back to Shed Talks. I'm Mark Allen. I've had a question being asked of me a lot recently, and it comes from athletes who have been racing for quite a while, a lot of years, maybe doing a lot of Ironmans, a lot of high volume training. Some of them are just finding that they don't have the reserve that they used to, and they're wondering, is it age? Is it something with their training? Let me see if I can try and explain a concept that I've shared with them that is really how I look at that reserve of energy we need so that we feel fresh and feel strong when we need it for our training and of course, especially in the races. This is what most people think of their energy reserve looking like, kind of like a cylinder. And so they do a hard workout, it takes a little bit off of the top, one of those little segments. Then they do another hard workout, maybe it takes a little more off, and then they take a day or two rest and those two segments get filled back up. And so they're looking at, okay, I've got this reserve that they're working off of, the energy we need to put in some good workouts over the course of time. And if they feel like, okay, I've kind of drained it down halfway, then maybe they start to attend to that. It's from the very top to the very bottom. If you dropped a ball in water and it was all water in there and it was floating, it would be halfway between completely empty and completely full. That's not how our energy reserves work, however. This is what our energy reserve tank looks like. Yes, it's like an upside down pyramid. So what happens here? Well, let's say it's completely filled up, you've had a good off season, you maintained enough of your fitness, but you really recovered and you're starting back training, your energy pyramid, upside down pyramid, is completely full. So you do one hard workout and it takes a certain amount of energy to do that. Well, since the top of that pyramid has so much volume, the upside down top, that the actual level inside of it only drops a little bit. And then you do another hard workout and it drops a little bit, but a little bit more to do the equivalent amount of energy output. As you work your way down the pyramid, when you get to the point where, again, if it was filled with water, you had a ball floating in it, and the ball was halfway between completely empty and completely full at the top, you would not have 50% of your energy reserves left. It might be 40% or 30% or maybe only 25%. And as you get closer to the bottom, that tank sinks very quickly. And that is what's happening to a lot of people when they have not taken the time to fill that energy pyramid back up. Now here's the catch. To fill it back up, if it's completely empty, you're completely exhausted, you just take some time completely away from training to get it so that that ball comes up to, let's say, a quarter full, a quarter of the way back up to the top. That happens real quickly because the volume is so small. And then as you get closer and closer to the top, it takes longer and longer to completely fill that tank back up because the volume as you get closer to the top is wider, it's broader, there's more to each incremental increase in height. This is a kind of a hard concept for me to explain, but hopefully it's starting to give you an idea of how to think about your energy reserves. Yes, if you are completely charged up, you have a lot of reserve to draw from. And as you draw that down, as you get closer and closer to the bottom, it's not a linear drop off to empty. It accelerates as you get closer. The same when you are trying to recharge back up. Maybe each off season you've had in the past, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks of easy training has been enough. But if you've drawn that energy reserve down, that upside down energy pyramid to near empty, it may take you a year of not doing as much hard, intense training or fast racing to fill it completely back up. Is this making sense to you? I hope so. Let me give you one more example. And this is something completely different than triathlon, but it's a parallel to how this works. Any of you who have children, you know that they require a certain amount of patience. Let's say your child is one of those ones who comes home from school, drops their backpack right in the middle of the living room and then goes on to do whatever they're going to do. And in the beginning, you have a ton of patience to work with this. And you say, hey, can you just pick up your backpack and when you come in, put it in your room. Don't leave it in the middle of the living room. No big deal. Happens the next day, the day after that, the day after that, and the day after that. Each time you have to tell your child, hey, pick this up. I've asked you to not just drop it in the middle of the living room. Please put it in your room. You've drawn down your patience pyramid, right? And as you use up more and more of that patience, it becomes shorter and quicker before you finally go, take that backpack out of the living room. You're grounded for the rest of the week, or whatever it is. You know, something where you feel yourself kind of like you're ready to snap because your patience has been drawn down, and it's the same thing. It accelerates to empty very quickly. If next day they take it into their room, you're not fully charged back up with patience. You're waiting just to make sure that wasn't a freak thing. The next day they do it again. They actually take their backpack in their room. And over time, eventually your patience pyramid gets filled back up. And maybe 3 months down the road, they forget one day. And at that point, you have so much patience, you actually make a joke about it. Hey, I thought that was supposed to go in your room. Don't worry about it. I'll put it in there for you. Energy reserve pyramid, upside down. Fill it back up this off season. Do maintenance training. Make sure that it's easy enough, though, so that you fill it completely up, not halfway up to full, but all the way up, and realizing that last few levels is going to take some extended time because there's so much volume of reserve that you can put into it. When you do this, though, that is what will help you to have great workouts next year, to have a great season next year, to have a great experience in the sport of triathlons next year. Mark Allen for Shed Talks. I hope you've enjoyed this.